they really mean they did a 180. Because the 180s, you said yes and then you say no. That's the opposite. If you do a 360, you said yes and you come all the way back around and said yes again. You came all the way back to where you started. See? So typically when people say he did a whole 360 now, they meant he went from cold to hot. That's a 180. Okay? But these are two things you need to remember, that in a circle it's 360 degrees, in a triangle it's 180 degrees, in a straight line it's 180 degrees. Because I've seen a question like this on a practice test. Let's see, how did it go? I'm going to try to draw it. And then they ask you, what's that degrees? They tell me this one's 40, this one's 75, this one's 30, and they ask me what's this one down here.
So you add all them together.
This is one triangle, that's another triangle.
That one is 65 in that corner over there. On the other
This one
side.
over here?
Yep.
Okay, but how's that going to help me figure out this one?
Subtract 30 from 180.
But I need to know, it's 3 angles here.
Well, subtract 30 from it, and then I don't know, Miss Harris.
Well, you know 30 is part of it, you know I still got 150 more of them to get to. And how am I going to figure out what's this one and what's that one?
Just divide it.
But they didn't say they're the same. How do you know they're the same?
So is it opposite from?
How can I figure out this one?
Get it from over here.
What do I know?
It's the same as the one right there.
It's not the same.
That's 75.
It's not the same as this. Oh, you're right. Because
Oh, Miss Harris.
we know that if this is a straight line, and I didn't mean to make it like that, but that was good for you. This is a straight line. I wanted it to be this one, but it's this one, and you're right. This up here has to be the rest of the 180 for this straight line is what I wanted you to see. You see what I mean? They didn't give me this one, but they gave me that was 75. And I know that this whole straight line here has got to be 180 right there, right? You follow what I'm saying?
As this happens.
Here's a straight line. No matter that it's cut with this and that, if this is 75, this on this side of this straight line has to be the rest of this 180 right there. You see what I'm saying? So they make you think. So this one's got to be 105. But what we do know, and I was going to back up and go to that, so I'm glad it came up. A lot of times they will give you this. They'll give you 2 lines like this, almost on every test. And they'll have that this is, I don't know, 95, and they'll ask you maybe, what's this one down here?
Same thing.
No, this is underneath it. It'd be the same as this one. It's not going to be the same as this one up here.
Oh.
See? So what you have to figure is that if this is 95, the other side of this has to make up that 180. So this is going to be 95. I mean, what did I say? 85 to make up that 180. You see, and it goes on around, and opposites are the same. If this is 95, this is 95. That's 85, that's 85. Okay? When you add all these together, you're going to get 360 for that circle. But opposites are. So if I knew this was 75, this one under here is 75 as well. So then I could say 30 plus the 75 is 105. This has to be the rest of them to make up 180. So this one's going to have to be 75 as well. You see?
But Terrence, I said that.
Yeah, but it didn't have to be. It just happened to be that way. They're not going to always be the same. So this is probably not really 75. I just made up a number for there, you know. Okay. You coming back tomorrow?
Yep.
Good stuff done.
I ain't missing no more. That screwed me out of the algebra part. Just that day.
Goes fast. So that's another thing to know. Let me put this one up there because I'm not sure if everybody got that. The main thing I was trying to show there is that you have to use everything you know. They had a question like that. They were asking about triangles, but you had to use those lines that you knew what a line had to have in it to know. So you'll see parallel lines like that, and then they'll have that are intersected, and they will tell you that this is, let's say about 80, and then they'll ask you maybe what is this one. They'll have a label and we'll look at one there. And so as soon as you see that, what you have to keep in mind is that it is 180 in a straight line, you see? All this around here, from there to there, has to be 180. So if that's 80 there, this over here would have to be 100. You see what I mean? If that's 80, that has to be 100. The rest of that straight line, which would be the same thing here. This would be 80 and this would be 100. Okay? And then on down. This would be 80. This would be 100. That would be 80. This would be 100 because it's cutting it at the same angle. But on around here, to get the rest of this, if that's 80, the opposite is, this one's 80. If that's 100, the opposite is 100. Same thing down. That's 100, that would be 80, that would be 100. That would be 80, that would be 100. So they ask about this one, now I know that that one's 80. Because all I have to do is just mark it on down for the rest of them.
Yeah.
But the key again is that 180. If this one was 65 on this side, I know that on this other side over here, that would have to be the rest of it. Have to subtract it from 180. This one would have to be 115, you see? And if that's 115, opposite that's 115. 65 and on down the line. So you could always figure out what that is. Anytime you have one that's blank and they're asking you for it, go back and just figure it out for the one that you know, and then it just repeats all the way down. Always the opposite. So when she saw that line there, she knew that if this one was 75 there, then this one here was going to be 75 as well. You see, she knew that. And the rest of this would have been the 105 there. This one over here would have had to be 105. Okay? So sometimes you have to mix those things. You know, they're talking about triangles, but that had to do with a line. Still, it's 180. I'm getting caught on my clothes here. You're letting me go. So 180 degrees in a straight line, 180 degrees in a triangle. How many degrees in a circle?
360.
360 in a circle. How many in a straight line?
180.
How many in a triangle?
90.
180.
180. Let's look at page 229. That shows what I was just showing you. Okay? Look at exercise 4 at the bottom of 229. What is the degree of x? How many degrees are in x? $130, right? Because you got 50 on the left side there, on the right side of there, it's got to be 130. And And that's 130. You keep going, the opposite of that is 130. On down, that's 130, and that's 130. You see? Everybody see that? A lot of times you'll have it like the one above it, all those different letters, A, B, C, but what we know is what two will be the same in the example right above that. Give me two letters that will have the same angle. A and D, okay, what else?
E and H.
E and H will be the same, and E and H will be the same as A and D, won't it?
Mm-hmm.
B and C will be the same, right? Everybody see that? And B and C will be the same as F and G. So all they have to do is give us one. And we can figure out any of the others based on that 180 degrees. And 180 is what's key. Because if you don't know 180, if they give you 35, you don't know what the rest of it has to be. When you see anything like that, your mind has to know 180 is the key. Okay? Look on page 231. Number 15. It says if S measures 120, what other angles measure 120? V, what else? W, what else?
Z.
Z, and what does X equal?
60.
60, right? The rest of that to get to 180. See that, Nicole? Everybody see that? Adley? Huh?